Hello and welcome to the SMU Video Archive series. In this series, we interview members of the SMU community who provide insight into the history of SMU, especially from the perspective of their time at the university. I'm Pam Lange, and today we have with us Zoe Urbanek, Professor of French. Welcome to the Video Archive series.
Very happy to be here.
Wonderful. Now, you've been at SMU for quite a long time.
Yes, 1956.
1956, so almost 50 years.
Yeah, came the same year as, who was it? Well, Al Mouladou for one in music.
In music.
But there are others also.
There are others too. So what was SMU like in 1956? Was it different from what it's like today?
Well, it was different, yes, very different actually. I would say there was more collegiality, that we as faculty were closer to our students, to our colleagues, and even to the administration.
Really? So
yes,
yeah, so
it was a more closely lit society.
A closely knit place, and people were more friendly.
Yeah, right.
And now it's become more, I guess you could say, corporate.
Yes.
You might say that.
Yes, I could.
Right. Now, you had been the chair of the French department at Hockaday School.
Yes.
But you had also taught at other universities too.
Yeah.
So why did you leave Hockaday to come to SMU?
Well, I first went up to Kansas State.
Yeah.
Then I got married.
Oh,
Came back to Dallas, you see, to get married. And so I was established here.
Right. So you found a job at Hockaday, and then
exactly.
And you were
then
have taught
I came here.
French all these years.
Yes.
You were a French major at Mount Holyoke.
Yes.
And so that was how did that happen? How did you happen to want to teach French?
Oh, I just wanted to know more about the language. I'd had a smattering in a private school, private girls' school in my hometown, Kemper Hall, the name of it, and we just didn't get into a whole lot of advanced work, obviously.
Obviously, right.
So I decided I'd pick up on that, and started out first year French, and I was way advanced in Spanish. I was started in upper level Spanish courses in college, because I'd done that, but I wanted to pursue the French. And I think one of the fun things about it was that we had a French house.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, le foyer. We had our own cook, everything.
Wow.
And there were just about 10 of us that stayed there. And we stayed
at
there
Mount Holyoke.
Yes, at Mount Holyoke, yeah. And we were there 2 years, our sophomore year, and then we all agreed that we should spread out, get away from each other. There were so few of us, and meet more people on campus,
right.
And then come back again our senior year, which is what we did with the same roommates.
Oh, how neat. That must have been wonderful. Now, I had an aunt who was a French major at Mount Holyoke also.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I don't know. It was way before that, but I don't know if she would have had the same the same experience, but that was her. Yeah, it must have been a wonderful program.
It was.
Now, when you came to SMU, I know, I can remember, I don't remember too much about it, but I know there's been some changes in teaching foreign language, or whether it was required. And all that. And I guess back in 1956, it was definitely required.
Oh, definitely.
Yes, and so you had, everybody had to take 2 years of a foreign language.
2 years,
is that right?
Exactly, yeah. Then we lost the requirement, of course, in
when did that happen?
That happened, I would say, about 72. Yeah.
And why was that?
Well, I think it was in the air.
That's right.
Many other colleges, universities were doing the same thing. I think we just got into the trend, probably.
That happens, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it seems that you get into a trend, and then it comes back. The same trend that you got rid of, at least that's what happens in English. I know that. So when you first got here, you had all of the freshmen, like the English do still, a requirement. And that changed. How about French? Has French come and gone in favor at the university?
French, I'm sorry to say, is taking second place to Spanish all over the country.
Really?
It's not just here.
No.
It's everywhere.
Yeah. But it
And
didn't seem as practical.
that's
too bad.
it is too bad because heretofore, you know, it was always everybody wanted to learn to speak French because it was the cultural thing to do, basically.
And now maybe
Yeah.
people are angry at France.
Well,
we don't even want to talk about that.
Yeah, right.
No. So you
They're
got right
angry at us.
into, how many classes did you have to teach at first? Did you remember? A full load. You were a full-time
golly,
instructor.
right from the beginning. I think it was 4 classes.
4 classes, yeah.
But up at Kansas State, I'd had 5.
Oh, no.
So this was a
was a walk in the park.
Yeah, right.
That's funny. So you had 4 classes, all of, whether beginning French, or did you have some older? I mean, you've done all sorts of different things, but I was just trying to think of how different it would have been then when you had 4 full classes.
Well, it kept me busy.
Yeah,
put it that way.
I'll bet it did.
Yeah.
And I know that if you look at your vita, you've been involved not just in teaching, but you've had done a lot of things with different committees, and like with the faculty senate, with the faculty club, and also with the women's faculty caucus. Do you remember the women's faculty caucus? I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, definitely. That was really a very interesting time. There were a lot of highly motivated women on campus.
Right.
And among them Conchita Wynn and Betty Maynard. Well, you know the group. So we were very anxious to put an end to this sex discrimination, segregation, etc., and move the women up to senior positions and so forth.
Right.
And then out of this came the commission, basically, on the status of women.
That's right. Now you were involved in that.
Yes.
Yes, you definitely were involved in that. What years? When did they start? Was that in the 60s? Or I can't remember. I know it was still
70s.
Going. The 70s. It was.
The commission began in 75.
Because if I remember correctly, the women's salaries weren't even the same as men's.
Oh,
it was awful.
It was just abhorrent. It was. I remember that first year that I headed the commission. We worked particularly on salaries.
Yeah.
And when I saw.
It's outrageous.
What I saw, I thought, this has got to stop.
Really, it
just terrible.
It was terrible,
Yeah.
and it was nobody even thought anything of it. I mean, until we did that.
Yeah.
I remember.
So then we started with this big push, and we really gained ground because just a few years later, the salaries were improved, not to where they should have been, but at least it was something.
At least there wasn't as much favoritism or
exactly
the gender. I mean, that was the worst.
That was
and I was told,
part.
Someone told me that even though all the men were getting $600 more than the women in the English department, that they deserved it because they, after all, had families to raise. Somebody told me that. So, that was the way it was back then in the city. So it was a lot to go.
I know.
And we had to change so that everybody had started at the same base salary. You didn't have special extra bonuses for you. It was really an outrageous situation.
Yeah, it was. It was.
And not only that, but there were other things about what was taught. Everything was basically the canon, which was dead white men and all of that. I mean, there was a lot of energy at that time. Because there were a lot of, and there were hardly
there was so much to do.
There really was. And I don't know that SMU was any worse than any place else. It was about the same.
I don't think so.
No. And people didn't mean to be unfair, but it certainly was. And of course, the salaries were horrendously low to begin with, to say the least.
Terrible.
But it was, so that was an important, that you were definitely involved in that. And is that still going on? Do they still have they don't, the salaries have been equalized, but they have the Women's Studies Council and all of that.
Right.
So, but that was the time when there was so much to do. I know when.
It was very exciting.
It was exciting because I don't think we'd ever thought about it particularly as something that needed to be
but when
done.
I look back at it now, we're not really doing anything in particular.
Not like we did.
Not the way we did then.
Too. I mean, I
No.
was part of that too. And
Yeah,
I
of course you
remember
were.
And there were also situations where, when women were trying to get tenure, and there was sexual harassment, and it was just very blatant. You know,
Yeah,
it was quite.
right,
And so we worked on that as well.
Yeah, it was really. It was. There was so much dynamism.
And people were willing to go to the mat for people too. I mean, they really.
Absolutely.
I remember certain cases.
Absolutely.
I don't remember the names, but I just do remember that we were all united in trying to change things, and it was scary.
Yeah, I remember being on a panel with Bonnie
Wheeler. Yeah.
In a case of injustice to a faculty member. I don't know, was a faculty member or a student. A grievance committee is what it was. And that was going on. It was
it was, and I know people, they were shocked. They just said, "What the?" I can remember one time a male professor at ours rank of 0, lowly, was given an office, a private office, and we didn't get one. Well. Yeah. We had a fit. We went. Yeah. And I remember Twinkie Lawhon just pitching a fit until he was taken out of his private office.
I can imagine. I can just see.
Because we all had carols, we were all going to be equal. We're not having any of this favoritism anymore.
Right.
It was not. Right. And so people said to me, "Don't you have any empathy? Don't you?" Well, no, I don't have any. None. 0. He could sit in the carol with everybody else. So it was an exciting time.
It was. It was. That's a major difference in the campus now.
That's right. I think it is. I mean, I think there's still collegiality and everything, but it's not.
There is,
same
but it's
as
not the same. It really isn't the same. It was more family-like.
Well, it was smaller.
It was
smaller. And it was a good
Yeah.
school. It was everything.
Absolutely. I mean, the courses were good. As far as that's concerned, the quality of the teaching, the professors, everything, I don't believe that's
no, I think
that's all. We're just good.
Yeah,
I've always been good.
It has been good. I know Marsh Terry always says, SMU is always saying, well, comparing itself to outsiders, and they don't really need to because it's a fine place and it has good courses and good things. And those of us who've been here a while recognize that. But it is too bad that all of that. But that was just a different time.
Right. And colorful people like Lon Tinkle.
Oh, yes.
For example. He had the office down the hall because at that time we were all in Dallas Hall.
Oh, really?
Oh, everything was in Dallas Hall,
okay.
including the arts, except for music. Everything.
Oh, I didn't know that back when you started. Yeah,
for 10 years.
Really?
Or 9 years, I guess. We moved in '65 to Clements, and he had an office down the way there, where the dean would be now.
Oh, okay. I remember when we had that.
Yeah.
And
then there were classrooms on either side instead of what's there now.
Yeah.
And our offices, and there were always 2 or 3 of us to an office, and there was no alternative.
That's right. You just had. Well, I can remember.
You couldn't ask for anything else because it wasn't there.
There wasn't any place to go. I think it's getting to that stage again.
It is.
Yeah.
We're short of office space now.
Yeah.
But never forget that. But it worked. We were okay.
Yeah.
And we managed. And then when we got to Clements, of course, there were 3 of us in one office.
Really?
Doris and Megan Kamini, Doris Davis.
I remember
Megan,
Doris.
Megan Kamini and myself.
You were all in one office.
We were in one office.
That's pretty good.
And now, of course, there is one professor in that office, and there has been for many years.
Yes, you can't all cram everyone in. Of course, SMU was kind of crowded, and if I remember, up until probably 1970, Dallas Hall was not air conditioned.
Oh, it was
at
not.
all. I mean,
we had ceiling fans.
Right, and that's a major change. And of course, all of the art school and everything. So the building certainly changed tremendously. In almost 50 years. How about the different? I know how many presidents have been here? Has that made a difference in did some support foreign languages or deans, or would the dean have more to do?
Yes, it does.
Right, sure.
It has. Our dean before this one,
Jimmy.
Jimmy, he, of course, was a French professor.
Oh, well, that helped. Yeah.
And he was in, well, of course, he didn't show us all that, favoritism. But he was favorable toward languages.
Right.
And foreign languages, generally. And so that didn't do us any harm.
No.
At all. Yeah. He was good for us.
Mm-hmm. But it's hard, I think, especially with foreign languages, like, well, it's a frill that, absolutely needed. And of course, we really do need it. It's a big mistake. Have there been different language? Now I know you have Japanese, Chinese, Russian, all different languages.
Hindi.
You have Hindi
Hindi,
too.
Latin.
Greek?
No Greek.
No Greek.
No, we never had Greek.
We
had Latin off and on. And at one time we had a little Portuguese too, but that didn't last long.
No.
So, no, we have grown in as far as the number of languages we teach.
Now, how about the faculty? How many are there more? I'm sure there are more, but it's.
You mean more in the foreign language department?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, sure. There are a lot more, and especially in Spanish.
Oh, that's right.
Course.
Yeah. Well, here we are in Texas. We have
to expect that.
You have
and
to.
That's not a bad thing. It's good.
But it's
good. But the numbers are just increasing by the year.
In
Spanish. We're stabilized. We've been at the same number of French students pretty much for quite a number of years. So we haven't really
How about majors?
From it.
Do you have French majors?
Oh yeah, sure.
You do.
But only maybe 5 or 6.
Okay, not really a whole lot.
No, what we do have are combination majors.
That's right.
Lots of those. French and Spanish, French and business in particular. That's a very popular one. Double major or major minor,
Right. So
like
that
boosts up
your upper level. So you can have some upper level, quite a few upper level.
Oh yeah.
What about now? I know that I can remember when I don't remember who it was in the foreign language department had the computer lessons and the video things. There was a lab, a language lab, and I was so excited because this was a new thing that you could do. Now, have you gotten involved in that, or have you kept the old fit?
No. I never took 100%.
No, I haven't either. Really, I hate to say that, but I admit that in public.
But we did have the students making, recordings
right.
and so forth, and we listened to them, and that sort of thing is still going on, but they're using the computers now.
Yes.
Instead of the antiquated.
The antiquated type of tape recorders and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's obviously a huge difference.
Sure, of course.
Does that help? Do you think it helps the computer help teaching language?
Yeah, I really, it doesn't help in every aspect of the language of teaching the language, but it helps their vocabulary, I would say, in particular, and composition. They write compositions on the computer. Hand them in that way.
Oh yeah, they just email. They email you.
Yeah, sure.
There's a lot. I certainly use it a lot. I don't know how I could get along without it.
Yeah, right.
If you remember the typewriters and the.
Yes. I still have an old Royal up in the attic.
I have one somewhere in the
with
garage,
a French keyboard.
A French keyboard. That's right. Now you've lived in France and gone to school there quite a bit, and
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you don't have a dual citizenship, do you?
No,
I don't.
No, I don't. But I feel very much at home when I go.
Right.
I have friends there, and French friends, and then American friends who, born American, but who resettled in France.
Really, yeah.
So forth, and of course our.
Year in Provence.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Lots of it.
Right. So I enjoy going back, and I had leaves. I've had leaves that
I've noticed
that I've used
to stay
to go to France, and I ran our program in Paris one semester. So I've had numerous stays of several months, throughout my career, which has been.
Which is very nice, and looking at your giant amount of presentations and translations and things like that.
Yes.
You kept going. Yes. What sort of, you did some work with Rosa Bonheur.
Oh,
Talk
yes.
about that a little
Yeah.
bit. And you've been
Oh,
quite
sure.
active in all of, like MLA and Alta and all those organizations. And
Yeah.
And how is that, the Rosa Bonheur? How did you get into that?
Well, that's a very interesting story. Ellie Tufts, the late Ellie
right.
Tufts, I'm sure you knew her.
Yeah, no.
Delightful person, came to me with 2 volumes of Bonheur letters in French. Came to the house and she said, take a look at these and see what you think. And of course, you know, she was just a feminist of
absolutely.
the nth degree. Yeah. And so I looked at the letters and she said, do you think these would be worth acquiring? And I said, yeah, I do. There were little sketches on some of them that she had made and so forth. And I said, oh, yeah. And so she set about getting the money together.
Wow.
Which she did.
She was terrific, wasn't she?
Yeah,
Eleanor?
she was wonderful. And she had a lot of connections here in town. So she got the money together, and then she came to me again. She said, how would you like to work on these? And I said, well, yeah, sure, I can do that. Ugh.
Oh, it's a lot, yeah.
10 years later.
10 years later, you're still,
I finally finished the translations.
Wow.
But I still do not have a publisher. I had one.
That's right, you did have
one. But it backed out.
Oh, too bad. That's too bad, because that's a wonderful work, but I hope you can get it.
Well, it was work, boy, I'll tell you, because I had to put the French into TypeScript before I could even translate it.
Oh, really? Because you couldn't.
Her handwriting is almost impossible to read.
Really? Yeah, that's hard, isn't it?
It's almost illegible.
And how many pages? This was a giant amount.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Lots. I think there were 214 letters.
Wow.
And I don't know how many pages.
So
really.
you've got
some
this
were one
wonderful
page, some were 2.
manuscript.
Yeah.
So that could be.
And I all the letters are not in my manuscript. That would
no, you couldn't.
I had
possibly
to cull out
pick out the
interesting ones. And so there they are. And I have actually just worked on another one at this last ALTA meeting, American Literary Translators meeting. I used it in a workshop, to head a workshop, because it was one of my letters that I never felt right about. I didn't have the right words.
Yeah.
So anyway, I set them to work on the letter, and by golly, they came up with some very good suggestions.
Because I think translation it can be so hard.
Oh, they are.
And I know.
You know, you just. I'm teaching a workshop right now, and the students are beginning to understand what they've gotten into. I think they thought it was going to be very easy.
Oh, sure.
It's a 5,000 course.
Oh, so it's for like graduate students.
Yeah. So I just had 5. I never had. One year I had 11. That was the most I ever had. Mostly it's 5. 4
and
or 5.
So they have to translate things, but I always love translation. That was my I like languages too. One of my things, but it would be it's fun. But I know it's difficult to get what the person really meant.
Well,
actually what was had in mind, because it could be completely off.
Yes. You can be so far off.
And
then you have to avoid the literal translation. You know, the worst thing you can possibly say is, "This is what it says." Yeah, you're supposed to interpret. You know.
So it's a whole art in itself, the translation. And you've done a lot of I guess you have done quite a lot of translation. Well, I mean,
worked on the letters so long.
That's all you could do.
And then teaching it every other year, actually.
So and you're getting ready to retire, which we're horrified to hear. But I get there'll be a switch, won't it? But,
it will be a switch. It'll be a big switch. But that's one thing I can keep busy
Sure.
keep on doing.
You can keep doing
as long
that
as I
and-
feel like
and
doing
working.
it. And
Now, I know you've also been very active in the faculty senate. You've been a senator. Now, did you have any big uproars when you were on the Senate?
Not particularly.
No.
No. The only unusual activity I had with the Senate was as the head of the commission when I had to give a report.
Oh.
You always had to give an annual report.
Oh, yes, of the Commission on the
And
Status of Women.
I addressed them.
That's okay.
And I said, it was a question of salaries that we were working on.
always.
See, the salaries.
Oh,
that was at that period, that
During the-
era
yeah.
that we've already discussed. Okay. So I said I thought that we could do something about the equity of salaries if we went public with them.
Oh, yeah. That's,
Published them.
and what did they? I'll bet they just had a fit.
They were stupefied.
Stunned.
Stunned.
I can
is the word.
Oh.
Well, of course, it was a very naive thing to say, but
But it's true.
But it has done.
It has happened. Yeah,
It has been done at other institutions.
Exactly. We
And I
did it
picked up on that, and I thought, well,
Why not? I mean,
Yeah.
it's the only thing that'll make it change because
Yeah.
they'll be outraged. if
outraged.
They see their pathetic pittance. Right.
So that was my most dramatic.
Well, that's pretty good. I'm sure I could just see them shocked.
Exactly.
Well, we actually did that in the English department. We were
Yeah.
so appalled at the
Yeah.
$600 difference, but it was
Yeah.
true,
Right,
and it was. So we said, well, we wanted everyone to be the same. We
Yeah.
didn't want merit. No, we wanted everyone's salary the same. Then we could go up from there. But
Yeah.
everyone started out
the same.
They've always done that since
Yeah.
then. It was really a big thing to do.
Whoa.
And I was
I
scared
didn't-
of doing
oh,
some
my
of these things,
golly.
but we just did it. Say
Yeah.
something like that and do it. So.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, we
I
did.
didn't
They,
think-
as we said, shared our salaries. This was back in the 70s.
Yeah,
too.
oh, sure,
And
yeah.
we knew what everybody was making.
Yeah.
So you could add some on for the years you'd been there and all this and that, but no
Yeah.
special treats for being a man.
Yeah, right.
That was
Well,
the
that was
worst.
the
That was what we were-
essential.
The essential. And then, of course, worried about, it's still a problem with the, I think the university is the last bastion of the hierarchy, where you have the male hierarchy. It's so difficult because of tenure
Yeah.
to get changes through, and
Oh,
people,
golly.
it's very difficult.
Very, very difficult
And
to do.
but I think that was an exciting time in the history of SMU, and I think it's good that people remember that. We've had
Yeah,
people that
right.
were really not afraid to
right.
take a stand and say this isn't right. Because I can remember when I first started, there were instances of male professors dating students and all this and that. I mean, a lot.
Yeah.
Now
Well,
you
a
could-
lot.
there
That's
was a lot of that.
disappeared.
It has disappeared. It really has.
Yes.
It's disappeared. But that was very common.
Oh, it was very common.
Extremely common.
Yeah.
And won't mention any names, but it was quite common. And now it would be not
acceptable.
Not acceptable. So that's an improvement.
Yeah, right.
What about the faculty club? I know you've been involved with the faculty club, and it's kind of sad what's happened to it.
I know. Well,
Really
I think it was a marvelous addition to the campus.
Yeah, it's great.
And especially the drop-in lunches.
That's perfect.
Because in that way, we met our colleagues across the campus instead of being limited just to those in our own discipline that we were
That's right.
living with all day long. And there was quite a diversity of subjects that we could talk about because of that.
That's true.
And even at one sitting, at one lunch, one could hear references to Robert Frost and proverbs from the Punjab.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it could be that variety of possibilities in conversation, and the discussions or what we talked about were always interesting and informative, very often very informative, and never without humor and as much wit as we could come up
Yeah, I
with.
can remember those tables.
Yeah,
You
right.
just sit there. You didn't have to go with anybody. You could
Yeah,
just sit
yeah,
down and have.
right.
That wasn't that
It
long
was,
ago, but I guess
no,
it just
wasn't.
didn't.
It was wonderful. I miss it.
Yeah.
In that way. The program, everything else about the faculty club on Daniels is the same. I mean,
Exactly. It just doesn't have the
it's not,
yeah.
no drop-in lunches are gone.
Because they couldn't.
Now we just drop in at Humphrey Lee.
Oh, I know. Drop in is not.
Which does not have the.
It doesn't have the panache.
No, the ambiance.
No. I mean, the
It's
faculty
just-
club
yeah.
has its faults too, but it was still.
Yeah,
it was
yes.
nice.
Oh, yes.
You know,
very,
all the staff
very
was
nice.
nice. Again,
Yeah.
that was a part of the which one of the best things about being a college professor.
Yes.
Professor, I think, is the collegiality. And
Yeah,
the
exactly.
friendships
Getting
and-
together and talking. Yeah, right. It's just it was it was wonderful.
It was nice, and you've done an awful lot on the as far as working.
Well, I was president.
Well,
Yeah, but
you were president, and you
For a
got
few
involved.
years.
I was
Oh, yeah,
telling
it was
Bill
great.
that I've interviewed several people, and some seemed to really they just did their work. They had nothing to do with anything. But you're
Yeah.
just
Oh yeah.
full
I've
of all
been
kinds
involved.
of
Yeah, I've been involved.
You have.
outside
That's
of my
good.
outside of my
outside
discipline.
of your discipline, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
done a
always,
lot. which-
always actually.
I mean, the list is gigantic. I
Yeah.
can't even. I've said to a similar person, I can't say no. Always something.
I know.
But I think it's important to do
Yeah,
that, to be
sure.
part of the university, and I think you
Yeah.
can make a difference.
Oh, absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
can make a
You
difference.
just have to get up and do it.
Yeah, I know. You just have, but so many
Yep.
people won't bother, or they aren't
Yeah,
welcome.
aren't interested, and yeah, I know, I understand.
And it's, times change too. I think
Well, that also.
it's a
That
different
also. It's a different world now.
right,
Different society.
a different society.
Different values.
Exactly.
It's-
Exactly. And where do you think the future of SMU is? I mean, do you think it's going to is it going to going in the right direction?
Oh yes.
Or yeah, you think so?
I have no doubts about that. Because I think we have such good people that in administration and as faculty, everywhere, staff,
Yeah, that's it.
very supportive people. And I think that when you've got that to work with, you just move forward.
Yeah, I think it's true because we've overcome
Yeah.
quite a
Oh,
number of
golly.
difficulties.
Yes.
Do you remember the death penalty and all that?
Oh,
That- I mean, I was fortunately not working here at the time.
Yeah,
I had a little
yeah,
break.
terrible. Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, that was something. Well, Pi did his job when
He sure did.
He wound that up
Yeah,
and
because that
did
was
a darn good job.
right. Because it's in the past. I mean, you never
Yes,
forget it, but it's
yeah, but he took care of it. He knew how, and he had his failings, but he knew how to handle that.
that's
That
right.
crisis.
Because it was a major
Yes. Oh,
crisis.
it was. Yes.
It's often, I also have noticed that, I'm sure you have too, that the student body has certainly changed a lot. It used to be
Oh.
a great number of people from Texas, mostly
Yeah. Oh.
Caucasian.
Oh, my golly, now
almost everybody. And now we've got
We have
a huge,
talk about a multi
yeah, we have, I mean,
multi-ethnic
exactly, which is, I think,
group.
all
Well,
good.
that's colorful, and that's just more new ideas, different ways, different cultures. We can't help but improve.
I think so, and I know they're really trying to get the SAT scores up and all of that too, or get a higher level and
Yes.
just improve.
Well,
I
we've
mean,
been doing that consistently,
It
little
has.
little by little. So I worked on those reports for scholarships for a number of years, going over the
Yeah, and
transcripts
it's-
and all that, and that's very true.
right. It has. I think they say if we need to get more scholarships in order to get be able to offer more to get it up anymore, and
Yes.
we may not
Yeah,
be able to.
yeah. Well, there'll be a ceiling.
Yeah, I think so. We'll
Yeah.
never get too much beyond that. But I
Yeah,
think there's a good. I mean, I teach the foreign students, so I have some that are really, it's so interesting and exciting that they're mixing in with the SMU.
Definitely.
And learning to adjust.
Sure, and it's a big adjustment.
Oh, it is. It's huge.
Tremendous adjustment.
And that's just been the last 10, 14, 10 or 12 years
Yes.
that we've really gotten a lot more of those. So, well, if you could see the future, what do you think you would see SMU becoming? Will it be going to be bigger, better?
Well, I think better, definitely. I don't see how much bigger.
No, I can't get too much bigger.
We're sprawling outside of our limits
taking
now.
over Mrs. Baird's now.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Bakery. Take all 4 of those apartments. That's about it.
Yeah, I think so. But better, yes, I really see that.
Yeah, I think it's good. You know, I've worked a lot in the last since I came back. I worked in the faculty senate and worked on different committees and things, and it's really wonderful to see people trying hard. And I just wish that the faculty salaries could improve, but
I don't know why
they just say they can't do it. I mean, 3% is the maximum.
I know.
And even then
It's been like that forever.
It's always been like that.
It's about always been like
the faculty and staff salaries. I know, like the library salaries are too low, and they try to get
I know.
Improve, but it's not good. But you know, we have the tuition benefit and all that, so a lot you can count that in.
Sure.
So,
but I feel very optimistic about it.
Good.
So,
and you won't be far.
Yeah.
When you
I won't be far. I won't be far away.
No, you won't be far away.
No.
So your beginnings, and you really learned the most you learned at Mount Holyoke. That was when you really got interested in being a French teacher. Yeah, that's what you wanted to do.
Well, I didn't.
No, you didn't want
No. As a matter of fact, it was the last thing I wanted.
Really? Okay. You wanted to be a movie star. That was more like it.
I just wanted to learn to speak French. That's why I majored in French. No,
but you didn't want to be a French teacher.
I did not want to be a teacher. My mother was a teacher.
Yeah.
Ran in the family, but no, I did not want to be a teacher. But when the time came to earn my keep,
you had to.
I had to do something. It was the only thing I could.
That's the only thing you could do. You didn't have a business degree or anything like that.
I had no alternative then.
That's true. You really did.
I had no alternative, and it worked out just fine.
You
Once
really
I got
did like
going it, then I liked it.
Yeah, I know. I didn't want to be a teacher either. That was my
there
mother
you
was
are.
a teacher also.
Exactly.
Yuck, no way.
Exactly. All I could think of was somebody with a pug in the back and hunched over and hobbling off to class,
We had, when I was in college, we had Mademoiselle Beecher who was like that. She was a French teacher, and she rode her bicycle between towns. That was quite a long distance on the highway to come to class.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, that was the cliche. But that
anyway.
was about all you could do. There wasn't with a degree like that.
So mother said, go on, get your master's degree and get moving.
We're tired of supporting you in the style to which you're accustomed. So you went to Northwestern.
Yeah.
Why did you choose Northwestern?
Because it was right there,
Oh,
Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Okay, you were from Wisconsin.
And it was close by, and I could go, home on the weekends if I wanted to, and so forth. So it worked out. That worked out fine. I loved Northwestern. It's a great place. Well, I like Chicago. I mean, that's my territory. And I really, where we shopped and did so much, because Kenosha is just 50 miles north of Chicago, right on Lake Michigan.
Right.
So you just...
Yeah, I like Chicago, too. It's a neat place.
So that worked out just fine. And then I went to the teacher's agency on Jackson Street, and after I'd finished my degree, and said I was interested in a position. And guess what?
What?
A position available was in Dallas.
Oh, you're kidding. So,
And it was just after I had read something about Neiman Marcus and all the glamour of Dallas, and I thought, that's it.
really?
I've never been there, and I had a friend who loved Texas and loved the vast plains.
Oh, yes.
Lived in San Antonio. She was from Kenosha and gone to the
Your town.
same school I had, but she was 2 years ahead of me. And so I thought, well, I can go visit Janet and down in San Antonio.
Oh, that's funny.
so forth and so on, and off I went.
And you were a little shocked when you got here, probably. Culture.
Well, I was particularly the heat.
Oh, that's the worst.
I arrived in a three-piece woolen suit, and it was 60 degrees in Chicago in September.
Oh, and it was like 100 here,
right.
I'm sure.
And it was over 100.
I can remember my first.
Those were the 51, you see.
Oh,
was
so
when I came.
there wasn't much air conditioning.
Those were the drought year, the terrible.
That's right.
Heat
that was
and drought. Oof.
It was awful. So you probably thought you'd made a terrible mistake.
No, actually, I didn't mind it.
You didn't?
It was a shock when I got off the plane, of course.
Sure, yeah.
But everyone was so nice and welcoming, and there were a bunch of new girls there who were going to be floor mothers in the dorms.
Yeah.
And of course, we were over on Greenville.
Yeah, that's right. It was over where
Vickery Towers is now. And anyway, everybody was just so nice. Those other girls, there were about 8 of us who came, but not all to teach. Most of them were going to be floor mothers.
Oh, great.
A couple of them were teachers in music.
So you got to live there too?
No, we lived in a little cottage, little cottage across the street from the campus right there in Belmont, which is no longer there.
Oh, too bad.
Yes,
so that was
taken down. There's only one of those old houses. It's on the corner that's still there,
and
that first block off Greenville.
Yeah, I know. So that was
only one.
That's where you lived, and you could just walk across. And that was was Miss
But
Hockaday
our house
there?
next gone. Pardon me?
Miss Hockaday.
Oh,
was there?
yes.
She
living
was
right there on street. Well, I can't remember the name of it now, but anyway.
Right, so that was
street right behind the school.
So that must have been fun.
Yeah.
And you never left, or you did? You went to a few other places.
I went up to Kansas. Yeah, I did not like it there.
No, you preferred.
Anyway.
You
plus the fact that I was
you were going to get married.
Yeah, right.
That's right, in Dallas.
So that was kind of a.
And here you are.
And so here I am still.
Yeah. Now you you started off as an instructor, and then you became a tenured assistant professor.
In 65.
Right, in 65. So that was possible at that time to do that.
Yeah, it was.
And really isn't anymore, but that's also been another.
Well, it was a whole different program.
It was a different program, a different world.
Different world, so, not the way it's done now.
No, it's entirely different. So there was, I remember that, there was an opportunity for instructors to become tenured, and really they don't even have instructors here anymore.
No.
No, they have lecturers.
I can't remember. Yeah, right.
I don't remember when all that happened, but
I can't. I can't put my finger on that either. But it happened.
It did happen, and so that's of course because the job market is crowded, and so it's very difficult to get a teaching job, and people. It isn't possible for
Yeah, right.
But it's kind of too bad. That's partly part of the collegiality problem. There's such a haves and have-nots.
Yeah, right. That's true.
But
so it all worked out.
It all works out to the So now is the foreign language, but how many people are in the foreign language department, like all together? Is it as big as?
I haven't counted lately, but there must be around 40 or 50. 40?
40 or 50, that's good. Do you have a lot of part-timers?
A lot of part-timers, lecturers, and so forth.
Yeah, and they do a lot of teaching too, the lecturers.
Yes, they do.
A huge amount. I know somebody from foreign language was counting up.
12 hours.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. 12 hours plus.
Yeah.
The compared to other people, they do, the lecturers and instructors do a tremendous amount of the basic teaching.
Yes.
You know, so that there's always been the thought, well, they should be paid more, but they just won't.
No
it's
way.
Not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Yeah.
You can take it or leave it, you know.
That's right. I mean,
That's
if you
it.
like the job, you take it. If you don't,
Yeah.
or you can get a better one, and I guess you could. It's
Yeah.
just that it's a nice life.
It is a nice life. It's a different world. It's a world of its own.
That's right. And so, I
And,
mean, there are advantages that you have to.
Yes.
You have to.
Absolutely.
You have to realize.
Yeah.
So, you know, going back to it just seems like it's such a different world from what we were talking about in the 70s when everybody was all together and fighting
doing
for
things
different
involved
things
in these various
causes.
causes.
Right.
Yeah, we were very cause
well, I was
oriented,
and I know you were too. I mean, I remember all those meetings.
I know.
The Women's Faculty Caucus, and there would be some new outrage to fight against, you know, and so it's different now.
Yes.
It seems like you've almost lost that zeal. But I can remember when Gloria Steinem came to SMU campus, and I was just, wow, that's amazing. I hadn't thought of that. I really had, you know, I was very backwards.
Yeah.
But then after that, we really got into it.
Yeah,
did all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
it was,
sure.
Fun to think about those days, but
it is.
You know,
is. Yeah.
When and it may just be the fire of youth or younger years anyway. It's partly
that's partly
exactly.
That's part of it, no question about it. But nevertheless, it was a different spirit that existed then.
And one thing about teaching too, I know you can have a family and you can
that worked out just fine.
Right, that doesn't seem to be a problem because the hours are flexible and you can you know, lots of things you're able to do. Like if you have a family illness, even like I've had, you can still manage it. If you're at a regular job, I don't see how you could.
There's no way.
I really don't. I mean, people do, but I just don't see how it's possible. So there are all kinds of advantages to the cloistered life or to the profession, but we still think they should raise those salaries for everybody.
I know.
You know, even on the faculty senate, they'll say, well, the full professors are only making $90,000. I go, oh, too bad. They need a little more. So, you know.
Yeah, right. I know.
Well, you know, you as you say, you either take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. Yeah, you can't complain.
No.
It's too late.
I guess it's too late, but it's been a good life for you.
It has been a very rewarding experience.
To be.
I can't imagine it could have been any better than it was.
Well, that's a wonderful tribute.
Yeah, I really mean it.
To the university.
Yeah,
and to the,
absolutely. It's been a wonderful experience. Of course, I live close by too.
Right, you live close by.
That's why we moved to the place that we did there in Lindenwood.
Because it was
close to the university, and also for ZZ, for the school system.
For the school system,
there are those two considerations.
And you certainly made a good investment there too.
Yeah, I did.
To say the least. Yes. Well, we all had quite a lot of fun there. So you've seen not only the university grow from a small. Well, it wasn't so small, but it was just a different kind of place, as well as the city of Dallas. It's such a change from the 50s till now. It's like
our street has been.
That's right. You've seen all the tear downs and
right.
All of that.
Oh yeah. There are hardly any of the old cottages left except ours and our next door neighbor and maybe 2 or 3 others on both sides of our block. Of course, it's a short little street.
Yeah, Lindenwood.
They're 3 blocks long.
Building those giant mansions.
I
It's just terrible to see that. But,
golly. It's terrible to listen to them go up.
That's right. There you are in your cottage. But I'm glad you kept that. You got your retirement pay there in your house.
Yeah, right.
So it's
well, it's So it was good.
Yeah.
Everything.
It's been a good time for me too to come back, and I've done other things too. But I've managed to go out and do other things. But to come back, it feels like really coming home, and then
you have that feeling about it.
It's good to be in this world, and I hope it keeps all the good things. That SMU keeps all the good things
got going,
and I think it will. It seems to have
I think
a
so.
history.
I think, oh yeah.
I hope so.
I can't think of any particular time when it went the opposite direction.
No, there have been some hang-ups,
Some
bad things, crises,
but
not,
we overcame those.
Yeah, I think so.
And just kept going. Yeah, I think the athletics has always been a problem.
It has, and it still is.
It still is. I mean, that's an ongoing thing that we just have to live with.
It'll come to some kind of. I was really disturbed about that track team, and very disturbed.
That's a shame.
It's just terrible.
It was, the Olympic.
I know. I have so many students. I'm just
I don't
sick
know.
over
They
it.
must have lost their minds.
Well,
Yeah.
the football is king. That's what we have to say.
I know that.
I guess.
Yeah.
Well, it's been great talking with you and thinking about the
good old days.
Good old days. I know. I didn't realize. I mean, I don't think I was aware so much that you were involved in all that. I remember that I was. But I was always rushing off into some new with swinging my scimitar or whatever, but trying to get some change affected it.
Right.
But it was fun. It's good to think about it.
It was wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been great talking about it.
Great. It has.
Yeah.